Hey, what's up, good people? This is Tony Chira, TSC TV1 USA, and the Tony Chira Show. Today, tuko katika ile segment tunaita Trending Jamhuri. Yeah, Trending Jamhuri is a show that brings to you what is, as the title suggests, trending pale nyumbani. Okay, just to give you a background, I decided to come up with this segment to round up basically what's happening pale nyumbani. There are, of course, a lot of things that are happening, but there are those things that you just can't have missed. What you can't afford to have missed. That's what I bring you on this segment of the show. And so karibu. If you're here for the first time, please fanya ile kitu fanya ile kitu. Subscribe, like, share. And let's get this word out. All right? So on the big one today, ile kubwa, the floods, right? Floods have wreaked havoc in Kenya, and so many people have lost their lives. Specifically, the big one that happened is when a dam burst its walls, and the deluge went down, sweeping people, homes, properties. Pale Maimahiu, I'm sure you've probably heard about that. In that particular one, it is said that more than 71 people lost their lives. And of course, that then brings the death toll to more than 120 people who've lost their lives. And of course, there's a lot of rescue efforts going on, Red Cross, the government, a lot of teams going out to help where they can. But of course, some good recoveries made, but in total, up to now, about 120 people have lost their life. So 71 in Maimahiu swept away in that deluge. In central Kenya, it said about 45 people have lost their lives. Nairobi reported more than 7 already. And of course, that number could be high because, things have continued to, cases have continued to be reported. And of course, there's that issue that was just devastating. I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but I saw it in Garissa. Like a boat was ferrying people across some river, and it capsized. I mean, the video is devastating to just even look at. And in that one, I understand about 23 people are rescued, but more than a dozen are missing. So I mean, that was just crazy. I mean, if you saw you can see the boat literally capsizing. And there's so many people across on this other side, like the guys who are video recording what was happening. And you can even see like the person whose clip I saw, like losing it when they see the boat capsize. I mean, that was like a crazy, crazy one. Consequently, schools have been postponed. Schools reopening date has been postponed. It was supposed to happen today, 29th of May, 2024 for the second term. But so now that is not going to happen because the government feels that the kids might not be safe. And so that reopening date has been pushed by a week to the 6th of May, 2024. That is next Monday, right? To those that have lost lives, may your souls rest in peace. And I would just say what everybody has been saying. If you live in a place that is prone to floods, just move up. Don't wait for the floods to take you out, all right? And I know this is controversial because typically the places where the effect has been felt most is in the low-cost living, particularly the slums, right? People that have been swept have been swept from their houses. The informal settlements down in the slums, like in Kibera, in Madare, in Mukuru, and largely those are the places that previously, before the Maimahiu dam crisis came up, those are the places that you've been hearing, like people have lost their lives and a lot of properties because, the waters could not be contained. So, and that brings them to the question that has been going on about affordable housing. And I've heard it from some people who say that is why affordable housing is important, because if these were like permanently well constructed buildings that have good drainage and they are set right in the right places, then you wouldn't have those kinds of situations happening. So I kind of feel like maybe, just maybe, this brings to that very front part the conversation about affordable housing, so that we could probably rid the country of those informal settlements that unfortunately always seem to be erected in the riparian areas, where when now this kind of situation happen, then they are the first victims. So I don't know what you think, whether it has to do anything with anything. You can put your comments down on the comment section below. Let me hear what you have to say. Maybe, just maybe, that affordable housing could save a life. Let's move on to the next story. And the next story is iko pale kwa social media. And I don't know what you guys think about this. This guy just almost shares my name. And I talked about him in the last one that I did, Trending Jamhuri. Brian Chira. Wow, my name is Tony Chirah, not Brian Chira. Brian Chira unfortunately lost his life in what is said to be a mysterious death. And he doesn't seem to be going to rest in peace anytime soon, if going by what is happening out there. Apparently, controversy has followed the TikToker's demise, with allegations of foul play about his death, with some people alleging that he wasn't hit by a hit and run vehicle, as it was initially reported. Some people say that he was murdered and then his body was dumped wherever it was found. And that has been a story that has been going on. And of course, there are investigations going on about it. So probably someday we will know exactly what happens. But as that happens, there is even more controversy that is brewing, right? Listen, a storm has just blown up when, incidentally, the money that was raised, about 8 million that was raised for the funeral arrangements, seemed not to get any accountability. Now, some people allege that a certain guy called Baba T, who apparently was in charge of like coordinating all of this, he happens to have been a friend of Brian Chira, can't quite account for all the money that was raised. Now, that was in the earlier part of like the last week or two. But this week, it's gotten a closer home. He's been put against the grandmother of Brian Chira, who apparently was supposed to be like the beneficiary of all the money that was raised, because apparently Brian Chira had wanted to put up a house for the grandmother. And so part of this money is said to have been raised so that that house could be put up. But apparently, now the grandmother, in a phone call with some TikToker, claims that she doesn't even have control over that money, the account, the PIN to the account. She apparently, it's those guys, that's what she says. It's those guys who opened and they have the PIN. And so she says she doesn't even know whether she will wake up to that account having any money or no money. And in a rejoinder, Baba T comes out very, very frustrated and very, very angry. Frustrated that the grandmother can say such things, and he even threatened to sue her. Did you hear that? Mambo inachemka pale Jamhuri. Yeah, mambo inachemka pale Jamhuri. We don't know what's going to happen, but I really, really hope that, this is resolved quickly so that the matter is put to rest. I mean, TikTokers, bana. Guys need to move on, eh? Yeah. So let's pray that this matter is put to rest quick. If the investigations are conducted, let them be speedily conducted, and so that we know whether or not actually Brian Chira was murdered or it was a hit and run case as it was. And then again, I mean, accountability, Bana. Accountability. There are no two ways. If money has been raised for a certain cause, just send it there. Let it do what it was supposed to do. In any case, I mean, there's life after, this whole fiasco. What I hear is that money could have been put to buying a house. Like the grandmother claims that they said the house that is being bought is going to consume like 5 million to renovate. I mean, 5 million to renovate a house, that is enough to buy a whole new house, So if her claims are right and true, then I don't think that is the right way. But then again, I don't know what you think. Put your comments on the comment section below and let's have that conversation if you like. All right. And then let's see the next story that we're going to talk about here. Serikalini. Hii mambo yanachemka pale Jamhuri. Mambo yanachemka. Listen. So there is this summit that is called the IDA. And so IDA 21 summit is going, is going down at KICC. And IDA stands for International Development Association. And this is the concessional arm of the World Bank, which offers grants and low interest loans to the world's 75 lowest income countries. Okay. So Kenya iko pale ndani, Tanzania iko pale ndani, almost all African countries ziko pale ndani, of course, including Uganda, the Matoke land. All right. Now, this is what stands out. People say that a lot of the African leaders do not get serious when it comes to addressing the Bretton Woods and, all those lending institutions. They say they play double, on this. So President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
I wasn't able to find double in your Apple Music library.
Come on. Okay. Hey. Okay. I don't know why she thought I was talking to her. That is Siri just jumping in to like cause mayhem right here. Pardon me. Sorry. Okay. So I was talking about President Kaguta Museveni of Uganda, who held the bull by its horns. And he demanded that the World Bank and the lending institutions should cease forthwith using the term sustainable development for Africa and change it to what Africa actually needs, which is social economic transformation. And he had reasons, very, very valid reasons, because he says like he's tried to get loans to develop irrigation, and it's not easy. He can't get that. And he went ahead to say, like, when he asks for money to organize conferences, that is easily found. And then people just go to hotels, wanapewa mandazi, wanakunywa chai, the story inaisha, and they go back. So that is according to him, that is the money that is easily available. But the money to actually do stuff like develop railways, develop infrastructure, hiyo pesa ikuji, He says that is not happening. And the only money that has been put to that purpose is apparently from China. The Tanzania railway, done by China. The Kenyan SGR, supported by China. And now Tanzania is doing one of its own, using its own resources. And he says nothing has come through for that development. He actually says two main projects that would change Africa is transportation, low cost transportation, which means produce from rich countries like Uganda can actually get to wherever their markets if the transportation cost is low. And that means rail transport. But then he says the World Bank cannot finance those kinds of projects. Okay. Then he cites another one, electrification. He says, again, seek support in that area and you get no money. So I found it interesting. I mean, and he was speaking right in front of representatives from these organizations. And I think it's a conversation that is still going on, and maybe it's about time. It's about time. Maybe he's making some good sense right there, and maybe we should be able to see some changes in those areas. I don't know what you guys think. Again, do you think that would actually be what would change people? And what do you think? Sustainable development, he equates it to a pregnancy that does not yield or develop into a child, into a birth, into, a teenager, into an adult. He says sustainable development is just like a pregnancy that doesn't end, right? Funny. And he says then, it needs to be social economic transformation. That way you can see whatever is being done, the effort yielding into something that, changes life. I don't know what you think. Put your comments down here and let's hear what everybody else will say. Finally, my last story of today's Trending Jamhuri is on Kibe. Andrew Kibe bana, unatubeba nini? Andrew Kibe, wacha za ovyo. Okay, so one of the things that everybody knows about Andrew Kibe is that he's a very, very controversial fella. He's a very, very controversial guy. By the way, nilimchapa pool one time. He's a great pool player, like one of the biggest top pool players. I don't know if you guys know that. And that was way back. But then, anyway, that's not the story. The story is that while he was in America, before he went back to Kenya, he kept calling out people and calling them names. And I remember one of the guys that he always wanted to like call out was KRG the Don. And he used to call him KRG the Donkey, So and I remember like when he was going for the graduation, you guys remember the graduation? Yeah, like the graduation, he had an event that he had organized. And so when he was going back home, there was this conversation that KRG was going to beat him up, So, well, of course, it might be social media, but, well, they said it was going to go down. Ilikuwa kukuwe na vita. Vita. But anyway, whether or not it happened, it didn't happen because hakuna mtu aliumizwa, okay? But now the story is not even about KRG. The story is about Sonko. Is Kife guy used to always call out Sonko, like harass him until Sonko one time reacted on social media. He actually used to call him Bosco. And so I thought, honestly, like when they meet, kutakuwa na fireworks kiasi. But guess what? Wamepiga story jana. They hooked up, met up, they had a conversation, wakapiga story tu pale, wakapiga tu story, wakapiga story pale. Nothing happened. It was like a very, very cordial conversation between themselves. They were having a drink, and interestingly, something came up that I think I am curious to follow up on. Sonko disclosed a few things about how he was huddled out of government as the governor of Nairobi, right? And he actually threatened. If you guys watch that clip, you will hear the subliminal threat come out that more information is going to come out. He's probably just waiting for the cases that he has in court to be finished, and then he's going to unleash some statements. And you all know, si mnajua Sonko tu. You guys know Sonko. With evidence, with clips, with videos, with receipts. You don't want to mess up with Sonko. He's going to unleash on you in a way that you've never known about. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is going to be like. But it's not up to me. It is all happening pale Jamhuri. Again, my name is Tony Chirah. This is Trending Jamhuri. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And let's see you on the next one. I'll see you. All right. Thank you so much for being with me. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment on this post. And let's see you on the next one. All right. Peace.